part 4 of the PHILCO 3812, and I believe this could be the final part of the radio repair. This is the cardboard cutout for the baffle here. What I'm going to do here is to paint this black on both sides. To strengthen this up, I took some carpenter's wood glue last night and I just covered this. That's why it's a little shiny. It makes it a lot stiffer. I want to show you something about the speaker cardboard as to why I cut it this way. As you'll see here, I simply held the cardboard up and I drew the pattern. And you see this part here, how big this would be, how big of an opening that is right there. So if I was to cut the cardboard exactly the way the cutout is on the cabinet, this area right here would be subject to the grill cloth getting pushed in should you handle it and pick up the radio and accidentally push in on the grill cloth picking up the radio or whatever. So what I chose to do is to draw the speaker outline and cut the holes on the inside of the outline. Using this plastic cover, I recovered the speaker. This plastic cover covers the cardboard rim that goes around that the cone is glued to, okay? So putting that down like this, you see how that is? So it's stupid to cut this opening this big here when your cone is down here. If you cut the opening exactly the way this is, why have the cardboard, number one? Second of all, you're going to get dial light coming through here in this area. You don't want to open up that, because that serves no purpose. You want to leave this closed, you want to leave this closed, and even this closed. I was going to make a hole here, but there's no point in it. Because your speaker is only covering this area. Now, as I am doing this video, I'm starting part 4 today. The coil should be in the mail, and the fellow that is mailing this, he wanted me to mention his name, and unfortunately I got it written down in the house. Now, he would like me to mention it. He is also sending me 2 knobs for this radio. PHILCO 3812 knobs. He feels that I paid him too much to have him do the coil. He was insistent on sending me the knobs along with the coil, so at the time I'm making this recording, it's not here yet. I expect it in a day or two, because he just mailed them out. I believe it was yesterday. So what I want to do off camera is I want to paint this black on both sides, and I'll be back on this video. I want to put the coil in when it comes in. Alright, I'm just doing this side. This is the back side. The speaker goes on this way, and the other side is left natural. It has a coating of the carpenter's wood glue on it. And I did that to make it stronger. So this is 2 layers of that thin cardboard that I showed you on that other video. So that's going to conclude it at right now. I'll continue on this video here when the coil gets here, and I'll be putting that in. And then I got to find a cord, a power cord, to put on this radio. I may have to use a ordinary plastic cord for it because that's really all I got. And put the knobs on it, and hopefully it works. Alright, so we'll be back on this video very soon. Good morning! Friday morning. I just got the package in from Greg. He's the fellow that rewound the coil for me. And again, I didn't copy down his channel. Mind like a damn sieve, I'm telling you. So I'll flash it up on the screen because I'm using Windows Movie Maker and I'm able to do that. Now, Greg told me that I sent too much money to him for doing this coil. He didn't want anything. I'm funny that way. I don't like taking anything for nothing. That's just the way I am. Plus, when I do, I get hit with trolls, so I can't win. So he insisted on sending me 2 knobs for the PHILCO 3812, which are the type of knobs that go on this radio. So I appreciate anyone else that offered to make some knobs. I think Ram Ham in Florida was going to make some on 3D printer, but I appreciate it, but not necessary. He had offered. I'm going to be getting the knobs, and they're supposed to be in here. So this is the very box that I mailed out the the coil to Greg, and let's see. Okay. There's the coil. Two little knobs. I guess these are PHILCO. He says they were PHILCO. They're 1/4-inch shafts. Yep. As far as I think they are. They look it. That is a 1/4-inch half-round shaft. Only doesn't seem to go on there. Let's see if it goes on. This is the replacement shaft. If it doesn't fit on the original tuning one, it's not going to fit on that. Well, it just barely clips on. But as far as I know, these are PHILCO knobs. They look brand new. I don't think they're 3D printed. Nope. Well, thank you anyways for the thought. But I can't get that on there. I took off 25, let me read this here. Oh, for crying out loud, he sent some money back to me. What am I gonna do, Greg? I took off 25 turns of 36 gauge. Well, I was close. I said I bet it's 40 gauge. Approximately 4.5 feet. Gave us I can't make out that word, 2.4 to 2.5 ohms. Okay. If I think of it, Greg sent me 2 photographs of the coil with the digital meter next to it. He emailed him. One was 2.5 ohms, the other was 3.5 ohms. Because it didn't show too good in the schematic. My color code is still on there. That's good. I appreciate that, because that would be a problem. Let me get you up here and you can look at this a little closer here. All right, this is the white mark, which means the coil. I didn't put that on there. That was on there. So the the coil sets this way as you're looking at it at the bottom. He told me on email he redone the beeswax on this. There was a sleeve over the top of this that I had taken off. It broke up and it was very brittle. There was like a brown plastic sleeve. So I sent it to him without it because it disintegrated. This is going to be on the inside of the radio, like this. And it's marked. You can see a mark I put right there. And another line here. So when I put this in, after I get the grill cloth on it, it'll sit like that. And you can see there's plenty of place for the sound to come through. Okay, what I'm going to do, I thought the coil was spaced now. Maybe that's correct. I know you're not supposed to do this, and it may not even work, but I'm going to put clip leads on this because I don't want to go through the trouble of soldering all this in and find out it don't work because I got it hooked up wrong. So I'm going to have to bring clip leads out, and my clip leads are quite long, so it may not resonate at the correct frequency. But I'm just going to have to do that and try it. If it becomes active, then I know I'm on the right track. I'll be back when I get the clip leads hooked up. I got a few short ones up here, these little blue ones here. That's the one Art made up for me quite a few months ago. I'll use those. Alright, I had a hell of a time here. The wires wouldn't tin. So I had to take my single-edge razor blade here and scrape them. Temporarily, I tacked these two together. This goes to the tuning condenser. This is, I believe, 110 micromics. Okay. This is the wire I colored green. You'd never know it by looking at it. but I got a green dot on the chassis up there. This goes to the one of the pins on 6A7. I don't remember what pin it is. Alright, the two black wires, this is black, believe it or not, they're not going to match the schematic. They were just whatever colors I had on hand. One goes up into the first IF can, and the other one goes down here. Alright, so they're tied together. I'm going to put a clip lead on that. This one's the ground, although it's painted red, because I had done it before I realized that went to ground. I should have did that with green, but that's beside the point. And if this wire is too short that goes to this tube, I'm going to have to extend it. But I'm going to have to put these on clip leads first. I don't like doing that, and I've only got a few of these short leads that aren't made up for me. So I'm going to have to use what I got, and then I'm going to have to use the long ones that I've got. I can't be making up now. I'm not taking time up to make test leads for this. I want to get this thing done. I don't want to go into a part 5. This is not the correct way to hook up an oscillator coil, but I need to make sure it's going to work. And if it makes some noise and gives me some indication of coming to life, I know I got it hooked up right. The wire that I had marked red, which goes to the chassis, goes to the red terminal here marked, well, this is the ground, so I chose to use the longer lead for that. These are the cables that aren't made up for me and sent me a month or two, 6 months ago maybe, and these work very well, and it's the shortest clip leads I have. So temporarily we're going to hook it up. It's going to be really hard for me to get that capacitor and the short lead that goes to the tuning capacitor on the back side of this coil and get it in there, and that's going to be really tricky, and I will have to tack it on there. I'm not cleaning these terminals off because I need to keep the marking, the color codes on here, so I'm going to have to literally tack it on. Everything's going to have to be tack soldered on here, which is the way I used to do things years ago anyways. Oh, here we go. Let's go turn the Variac on. Let's get it up to let's go to 115. 118, that's good. Volume's all the way up. Now the way I got this thing, I still don't have a cord for it. It sounds like I might be getting some, of course, I gotta unplug this. The problem with this is I forget to plug it back in. This thing was almost full in just 2 days. I can't afford to have dampness in here. Let me put this camera down a minute. Now I'm getting a lot of interference because I had to turn off this light. It's oscillating. Hear it? Surprised it's working at all with these long wires. Let's go touch the tuning capacitor here. I can't tune that. Let me shut this off and try to get this radio up on end. Alright, I'm going to turn the Variac back on. As far as I know, all the wires, yep, they're still connected. This way I can reach the tuning capacitor. A lot of noise, but it's active. There's only a short antenna wire on here. You may see in the video. Sorry, I can't. I think these knobs were 3D printed because there's something plastic in the middle here that's preventing the knob from going all the way onto the shaft. These look like they might have been 3D printed, although Greg didn't tell me that. I don't know nothing about 3D printing, but they look brand new. Either that or they were universal replacements. Turn this light off. Okay. Sorry, it's going to be a little dark, but I had to turn the LED overhead light off. Alright, this Rube Goldberg here, we'll have to straighten this out. Alright, so I'm going to, off camera, believe me, I'm not doing this on camera, I got to get my face right in here. This is going to be a challenge for me to solder these wires back on, especially this one here with the cap. And if it gets too much of a challenge, I don't want to do it, I may have to extend the lead on that 110 picofarad cap and the extended lead on here so that I can solder them on and then get them in there. I don't like doing that. You know, when it comes to oscillator circuits and IF frequencies and RF frequencies and stuff like that, the leads must be kept short. But sometimes you have no choice. I'm going to try my best. That's going to be a challenge for me because when I put my wire nippers in there, when I removed the coil, I had all I can do to snip them off the coil, that capacitor off of there. I just barely could reach in there, so I may have to extend the capacitor lead by a small amount. Well, I hated to do that, but I had to extend the capacitor wire, tack it on here. I bent it over and tacked it on. It's a crappy job, but I'm sorry, I can't do any better. Then I gotta, hopefully that don't pop off, and then I gotta bring up come on. Gotta get this wire, which goes to the tuning cap, to go on that same terminal. So I gotta try to get this coil mounted, if that don't fly off of there. And then I gotta run the risk of having that thing pop off when I solder the other one. There's nothing I can do. I have to tack it. I cannot do it right. Oh, never again will I attempt to put one of these coils in. You would not want to hear the audio on this recording. About 45 minutes of struggling with this thing, and I ended up adding extra lead to it. I added extra lead to the capacitor. I had to replace this lead because it just barely reached. I was trying to solder these two things on and they kept popping off. 10 or 15 times they kept popping off. I poured so much solder in this, it was going all over the place. There's one right here. I must have used about 8 inches of solder off the roll just to do this. I'll get that later. I doubt, if this thing works, it'll be a miracle. And I had a hell of a job getting this clip in. What a job. I was come very short, very close to hot gluing this coil in. But I got it in. What a job. And I had to solder the capacitor on about a 1-inch extension of lead, and then I had to add an extension on the tuning capacitor lead here, which you can't see behind it. Attach them to the coil before I mounted the coil here. Then I had to redo this one. This was the red wire, which is supposed to go to ground. It goes to the red terminal, but I knew where it goes. I'm telling you, if this thing works, it'll be a miracle. It really will. Because I put so much heat on this, kept pouring solder in, pumping solder in. I held it down with a needle nose. I tried everything, and it kept coming off. It kept coming off. I tinned everything. I tinned the wires. I scraped them with a razor blade because they wouldn't take the solder, you know, the old wire. Finally got them tinned good. Still kept popping off. Unbelievable. I'll never do another one of these again. No way. It's about the most hardest job I've ever done on the radio, and you can see why I will not work on any IF cans or anything else. Oh. All right, let's try it out. Let's see if it works. If it don't, I probably burned out something here, because I put a lot of heat right here. I don't think there's anything shorted. Let's try it out. Okay, I just put it on. Uh-oh. Oh, wait a minute now. There's no antenna on it. Let's not give up yet. All right, let me get a piece of wire on this. I had to unplug my dehumidifier. I had to turn this thing off because this thing is very noisy. So I'll be right back. All right, let me turn the shop light off.
These are family business. They have no interest in first grade. Can forever.
Damn, volume control's noisy again. I got it. It's really hard because I can't get anything in the damn thing. I got to drill a hole in it to get the deoxide in. It's all the way up. But at least I didn't ruin the coil with all that heat. Now this IF has been peaked at... I can't do anything until I get a line cord on this damn thing. Alright, I found a nice brown polarized power cord, nice and long. It looks like about 8 feet. Oh, what a battle I had soldering that in. Oh, now, we don't know exactly what the frequency of the oscillator coil is, so we may have to touch up the IF by ear. These are peaked at 470 kc. Okay, is the IF, first IF, second IF. We're going to have to probably re-peak it again, but by ear. We can do it by the radio station. We're going to have to, because the coil's been rewound and we don't know if it's going to be right on frequency. Greg set it for, you know, the number of turns and the resistance and the gauge of wire. So, let's plug that in. And this is going to be a long part 4. I'm sorry, I'm not going to make a part 5 on this. So if this is 2 hours long, it's 2 hours long. It's WVGA anyways. Alright, so let me get you on the tripod here. Sorry for the dark workshop. I had to turn the light off. I was getting all kinds of interference. Oh, let me turn this AC off a compressor. It's getting cold in here now. The humidity's dropping substantially. All right. The speaker's got a piece of cardboard over it, so it's not going to really sound too good. Oh, WCBS and all.
The Mets have people believing, but they've got another stiff test rolling through Citi Field tonight when the first-place Braves arrive for a weekend series. Teams have played 13 times this season, with Atlanta holding an 8-5 record. Jacob DeGrom rules with Mike Fulton.
Can't even find a...
Have won 5 in a row. The Yankees were swept in Oakland. They continue on in Chavez Ravine tonight against the dangerous Dodgers. Oh, easy. I mean, that's what these guys do.
All right, let's try a weaker station. Sorry, got to use a metal screwdriver because none of my plastics will turn these. They turn easy, but the plastic breaks right off. Can't even find a screw slot. Here it is. It's still pretty peaked at 470 kc. Can't see the screw slot. Okay, I didn't have to do anything. They're all peaked up from the signal generator. So the coil's pretty much on. Now, let's get this radio. Now that I got it with a decent cord on it, I can handle it. Still getting a lot of interference. I only got about a 30-inch cord on here, antenna on here. Bad spot in the volume. I'm going to have to drill a hole in the volume control and get some deoxit in there. It's not squeaking anymore like it was, but it's crappy. The pilot light is probably a 47. I can't get it out. It's frozen in the socket. Unless I bust the bulb. It's burnt out anyways. Now, let me see something here. Seem to make any difference on those adjustments at all.
Two political parties is
okay, this is my super radio.
Just in Washington, but people who can't even talk.
That's the PHILCO. I peaked up this and got a little more. Okay. So, I guess I need a longer antenna just for this local station. I say local, it's about 8 to 10 miles from me. The tower, that is.
prices are going to be going down.
Yeah, right.
Throwing some good news there, right?
Gas price ain't never goes down, maybe 2 cents.
Get your day started with the most local information.
Well, I guess maybe that's all right. All right, what I want to do here, I'm going to leave this covered. I'm going to rip this bulb out. I can't get that out. I break the glass. I tried pushing it and turning it with the needle nose. It's probably soldered to the center pin by heat throughout the years. So we'll cut this off. This wire is going to short out anyways in this thing, and we'll throw this damn socket out. I know you can't see that, but there's a little piece of plastic on the flat side about halfway down, and that's preventing the knob from going on. It only goes on a little bit. It's just the way they're made, I guess. So I need to get in there with something, probably a soldering iron or something, and heat that up on the flat side so that the knob will go all the way on, because they will not go all the way on. They only go in about not even maybe an 1/8 inch, and it needs to go on more all the way, but we'll make it work somehow. All right, I tried to save this socket. The insides were all there's a black plastic with a spring in there. It was all crapped up. I tried to redo it and tried to put a new wire in it. Couldn't do it. So I need this holder. So I don't have anything like this at all in the shop. The only thing I can do is to bring in a 47 bulb, solder it in, because I don't want to throw this out. Put it in this shell and solder it in. All I can do. I'll do that off camera, and then I want to move on. I don't know if this is going to work, but I got nothing to lose. This is not a brand new bulb. So I have an LED version of a 47 also, but they don't put out the light that these do. I want to slide a piece of heat shrink tubing onto the base of this, just onto where the wire is soldered to the center, and slip this through here. And this wire hopefully is long enough to reach all the way down inside. If not, I'll splice it in. The bulb burns out, it burns out. Then I'll have to go through this whole thing again until I can get the right socket, because I do want to keep this. Alright, it fits in there nicely. It's a one-time thing. It fits in snug enough that I don't think I have to solder the sides, which is good. Because getting this bracket off of this requires filing down that little brass grommet that's in there at the back in order to get this part off so I can put a new one on there. Alright, I'm going to connect this up later. This wire has a cut in it, as I told you, right down where my finger is, which got bound into the tuning capacitor. So I'm going to run this wire down. If I have to splice it in, I'll splice it in. So we'll deal with that after. I tested this on a 6-volt battery. The connections are good and it's working. Alright, I went to my fabric store today, and they have hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of different kinds of fabric, and there's nothing over there that was even close, except this. The minimum they sell you is 1 yard. It's $2.99 a yard. So to get a 5-inch piece or 6-inch piece out of this, the rest of it, well, I don't know. But anyways, this is the material. It's doubled over, and it's white on the inside, but I can double it over so that nothing could be seen through it. Let's show you what it looks like. I think it looks pretty good on the cabinet. I've looked at a lot of videos, pictures I should say, of this model, and it uses a light tan, which the fabric store did not have, with a horizontal, very faint horizontal pattern to it. So this is the closest, and I spent quite a bit of time there looking through this stuff. I had to get the thing so it would stay in there with a horizontal pattern. I think it's a close match. I think it looks good. I looked all over, I couldn't find anything that was anywhere near as good as this one. They had dark brown, they had light brown, they had light blue, all without patterns. No tan, other than extremely light. So I think this is what's going to be, and I'm going to glue that onto here. Alright, that should be more than enough to fold over. I only need to fold it over. Of course, it's going this way because this is going to be the inside of the where the speaker goes against. So now this is doubled over. Come on. All right, see? Now, even with a single layer, you still can't see through it. And that's important. I don't want the I don't want these marks showing through on through the grill cloth. So if I fold this over like this, do one of these numbers, you got to remember the other side of this now is the same. Okay. I can double it over, or I can use a single. I think we'll try the single first. Alright, so what I got to do here is trim it. Get this to fold over, but not to come into here. I'll do that off camera. Okay, I've never done this before. Never used hot glue on grill cloth. But then again, it's been many, many years since I've done grill cloth. Okay, but it sets up pretty quick. Now this is the top. I put an arrow on here. This is the inside, so the pattern's got to be horizontal. As close as I can tell. Hopefully it's straight. Close as I can tell, it is. So now I got to bring over these, but I got to trim the sides and edge corners, or rather, which is actually hidden anyways. So I got to be very careful. I'll do that off camera. And my glue gun, I don't know if I got enough glue, but alright, I'll be back. Alright, I had to move the arrow down because I had the glue up here. Yeah, the thing works pretty good. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to put hot glue on all four corners. I think I got to reinsert another stick in here. Yep, I do. And let's see. Yeah, we'll stick a little in there. It's not bad. I got it in, but I was at the end of the glue stick and I was trying to push another glue stick in. So by the time I got one corner done, that was hardening up. And I had to rush. I got it in, but that stuff sets up quick. And, it's still sticky yet, but I got an extra amount on the top part here. I think it came out pretty good, except this corner down here. Got a little bit too much glue. There's not much I can do about that. I'm not a cabinet maker. But you can see now, if I hold this up to the light, you see how that is? You see that space on the upper left-hand corner? You can see there's plenty of area for sound to come through. And that's why I made the cardboard baffle board that way. So it's good and solid. Here, it's got the cutout here, a little half-inch place here that's not cut out, and a continuation here. The same with this one. A little cutout here, half-inch, little space, and so forth. And this one here is not cut out because the ring of the speaker is basically like that. So there is no point in having this open. No point in having this open because the dial light will come through and shine in. Alright, so I think it looks pretty good. As far as being straight, I think so. I can't shift it now if I wanted to. Okay. Alright, so we're all ready to put the radio in once I get the pilot light installed. So hang on. Okay, I patched it in here. I spliced it in and put heat shrink on it, put the new wire on here. And it's long enough that it won't get jammed in the tuning capacitor. And if I have to, it's even long enough so that I can solder onto the next socket if I find one. So it's got the red stripe, but that's alright. This happens to be a wire I found. So that's good. So that's not going to be in the way of anything. Okay, I got to put an antenna on this. Well, all right. Gotta put an antenna on this. I gotta take and knock that little piece of plastic out in the bottom of this knob here, so I can't get them on here.
When the bilirubin gets, say, above...
Pine Valley Orthotics, just like I did. Only $99. They'll change your life. Visit PineValleyOrthotics.com.
For the status you deserve and the value you expect, follow the...
You see it's good and solid in here. So you got a little bit of movement here and a little here. That's why I made it this way.
Come for more information and directions.
Well, it's only got this little wire on here, so I don't expect much. And I had to turn almost all the lights out in the shop in order to get reception.
Reserve your spot. Use promo code CITY on the app to save $10.
I don't know what station that is.
Park smarter. From the 1010 Winds Traffic Center, I'm Greg Rice.
1010 Winds?
John Fan Highway Patrol, a little tougher than it was.
1010 should be up here.
News Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. John.
That's News Radio 88 between 80 and 90. That's New York City. News Radio 880.
Online at Beaner.com.
Here's my brother Stu of Stu Leonard's.
We were up at the Putnam Valley in New York visiting one of our corn farmers.
It really makes me face reality. If my husband died, how would I pay the mortgage? Or a group of mates who want to come in and advocate for...
See, I'm not sure if that's my local station.
IT Direct. In less than 5 minutes, I had a quote. I was shocked at...
You can't say what.
No.
You can't say, when we build this next coverage, I feel so much better knowing my family has protection.
Call AIG Direct right now for a free no...
Okay, that's the local station.
Less than 5 minutes, and you can save up to 70%. Call now. 1-800-458-32...
Oh, it's between 12 and 14, so it's about 13:10. That's about right.
3263.
History comes alive on submarines, battlefields, and betrayers. A 90-minute boat tour from the Thames River Heritage Park. Hear stories of legendary heroes, infamous traders, extraordinary feats of tactical brilliance.
A little bit bit of glue here. I've got a little bit of glue showing through here.
Here in New London, $20 for adults and $12 for children 12 and under. For times and tickets, go to the ThamesRiverHeritagePark.org.
I guess not bad for a half-ass shoemaker radio cabinet man.
1,000 stories.
Now back to the ballpark for more Connecticut Tigers baseball on 1310 WICH. Here's Elijah Gonzalez.
Okay, that's 1310. That's correct. There isn't anything above that. There used to be WNLC 1510. But I don't even know if they're on anymore.
Progression is leads to moral certainty in their views on issues that matter in the here and now. Seems utterly unjustified. Believing that you are...
Now, I peeked this, and IFs were right on from the signal generator.
So jam trying to get toward the 3rd Avenue Bridge. It looks as though all the activity is now wrapped up, but it is really heavy still trying to get onto the bridge. So jam there.
A lot of interference.
And trying to get across the Tappan Zee Bridge, 287, the delays from White Plains right to and across the span, right over toward the Palisades Parkway and on over toward the Garden State Parkway as well.
Wow.
It's very heavy on the Parkway southbound from at least 151 down for 148. In Bloomfield with the crash, more delays at Union on down for 135, down for Essex, and then headed down the shore 105 right on down for 82 in Tom's River. I'm Tom Kaminsky in the WCBS traffic.
WCBS 880. But why Winds 1010 comes in down here? That don't make sense.
Operated DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code WFAN when you sign up. For a limited time, all new
WFAN.
deposit bonus up to $500. Plus, new users WFAN to get a risk-free bet of $200.
Between 60 and
WFAN to get a risk-free
WFAN. I'll have to look that up. That's, I think, New York.
Must be 21 or older. New Jersey only. Deposit bonus up to $50 instantly. Remainder requires...
It could be down there.
Restrictions apply. See site for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Paul Miller Jaguar has moved. Check out the all-new Paul Miller Jaguar at 189 Route 46 East in Parsippany, New Jersey. Just minutes from 287 and 80.
FAM could be New Jersey, too. I don't know.
PaulMillerJaguar.com. That's PaulMillerJaguar.com.
You're having a ban on it.
Okay.
Was damaged after a suspected vandal.
55 on the dial.
The robot.
Lovable like R2-D2? Probably not.
Not a bad dial light. I mean, you know.
The Nitro K5 robot took photos.
I don't know if the bulb burns out, I'll have to solder another one in there. So all I got to do is get these knobs. I can do that off camera to get them to push on all the way because they just... I'll just have to remount the flat portion in there. There's a little piece of plastic sticking up on both of these knobs on the inside.
The PHILCO robot patrolled the multi-level garage 24 hours.
Not a problem. We can get it.
He was equipped with 4 cameras, the ability to call police, and able to track...
I'm going to stop the video here.
6 o'clock this evening. Here's Steve Summers, and then, of course, obviously later on this evening, all the action with the Yankees as we get ready for a big series this weekend with the Dodgers, including a 10 o'clock game this evening with Paxton and Rio on the mound.
All right. I just connected it to the Kenwood. I took the Kenwood wire off here because of the thunderstorms that we had a few days ago, and I never connected it up. So I'm on the center pin of the coax.
Tap inning started for Brooklyn. Full on and ground is foul.
So let's go up to the top end of the dial here. Well,
so 1-2.
they're investigating. Earlier this week, the CDC announced 149 cases.
We've had only the right wing getting...
Yeah.
Percent. Well, about $1,000 a year.
Ally of the sitting prime minister.
What goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about it.
I think we're good on this. As good as it gets. It did a little better with the long wire antenna. Of course, I'm only connected to the center pin, and I did not bring the ground wire to the outside of the coax, which is grounded outside. All right, I got to bolt the chassis in, and I'm going to work on these knobs, and I'll do that off camera. I know you can't see this with the ZE1, but on the triangle, on the center triangle, the bottom part has a little piece of plastic sticking up, and I can't get my wire cutters in there to cut it. So I'm going to have to probably stick a hot soldering iron in there. I won't do that tonight. And try to melt it down. Now, it may fit loose. And we used to stick, book matches. Used to break a piece of book match off, cut the head off of it, the match part, and stick that in here and then shove that on the shaft when it was loose. So we used to do that all the time. Of course, I don't have any book matches, except the souvenir ones I collected only for souvenir purposes when I used to travel to West Virginia and Tennessee back in the 70s. All right, that's enough. This video is very long, so I want to thank you for watching. I think the radio came out okay, except for my glue screw-ups on the upper left-hand corner and on the bottom right-hand corner, and of course the dial lamp. But at least it has a dial lamp, and if I get a socket, I will try to put that in. Not a biggie. That concludes part number 4 of this radio. I know it's a long video.